The straits are shrinking as people overcome obstacles imposed by authorities in Taiwan. Visits from the region to the mainland have more than doubled during the first half of this year to reach 1.9 million. Hung Hsiu-chu, former chairperson of the Kuomintang party, has been for years bringing young people to experience the mainland for themselves. And she brought again nearly 200 young people this July to attend a cross-strait exchange forum in East China's Hangzhou city, despite the ruling DPP party sounding alarm over travel to the mainland. What keeps her coming back? Why are so many young people interested in embarking on their own journey to the West? I sat down with Hung Hsiu-chu in Hangzhou, where I started by asking her about her impressions of Xinjiang as the region has become popular with the popularity of mainland-made cultural products.
我觉得这个问题是非常有意思，也很好。大家都年轻过。
I think this is an exciting question. We've all been young. Young people are naturally curious about new things. With cultural penetration today, no matter how much you try to ban Douyin or Xiaohongshu, these things are everywhere. Movies, TV shows, anime, and comics are all accessible. And once young people find out they can watch them, their interest is piqued.
发现到说，这个是实际上我可以去看的哦，他就引发了这个兴趣。
Especially with TV series, as you mentioned. The more you try to block them, the more young people will find ways to watch. In addition, why does the DPP try to block this? It's simple. Fear. They are afraid their lives will be exposed and that young people in Taiwan will see the truth about the mainland.
怕这个大陆的真相被台湾的年轻人了解。
是什么真相？
哎呀，当然是大陆进步啊，当然是他们讲的话都不对的，就好像
The truth is that mainland is progressing. The DPP's claims are false. Maybe last year or the year before, there were allegations of forced labor and genocide in Xinjiang related to cotton. A reporter asked me about it, and I hadn't read the news so that I couldn't give a definite answer. Though I didn't believe the news, I said I needed to look into it further because seeing things for yourself is important. And then when I went to Xinjiang, my main goal was to find out the truth. Then I shared my findings through various media when I returned to Taiwan. In short, those allegations are all nonsense. If we don't see it ourselves, we might start believing the lies after hearing them 10, 100, or 1,000 times.
胡说八道，你就在骗嘛。如果我们不这样走一遭的话，
But when you look at it yourself, you realize these are all lies. This is why the DPP doesn't want young people to visit the mainland. They are afraid. They are afraid that once young people see the reality, they'll realize the mainland isn't what they thought. My trip to Xinjiang showed me this. Young people in Taiwan are naturally curious about Xinjiang. And when they see the stunning landscapes and rich resources, their interest will only grow. Word of mouth will spread, and soon, many more will be interested.
那他当然看的就更多了，他兴趣就更大了。那一传十，十传百，兴趣就来了嘛。
Some people are hyping the so-called natural-born pro-independence sentiments among young people in Taiwan. But what we are seeing seems to point to the other direction. For instance, some of the popular dance and musical memes on the mainland social media platforms are also very popular among young people in the island. Do you think there is this natural-born pro-independence tendency among young people, or natural-born pro-reunification or pro-integration? What is your view on this?
我不认同什么天然独或者天然亲。
I don't agree with the idea of innate independence. I think it's artificial independence. When I was a kid, our education taught us to be a proud Chinese and a bright student. We learned values like honesty and integrity. Growing up in that environment, it was natural to identify as Chinese. I would not have identified as American or Japanese. Even Tsai Ing-wen said she studied Chinese books and identified as Chinese when she was preparing the legislature elections. But now that she's in a different position, she says something else entirely. She knows the truth, but deliberately misleads. You Xikun, head of the legislative body of the Taiwan region, said, "Integrity and shame are products of monarchic rule. It's ridiculous." So, even though these people were educated about their Chinese identity in their youth and are fully aware of the truth, they intentionally choose to mislead others. When you talk about today's kids in Taiwan having innate independence, I believe it's actually artificial independence because the textbooks no longer teach the values of being proud and upright Chinese. The authorities have removed those values and erased history. Chinese history is now East Asian history, and Taiwan's history has been rewritten. Their version of Taiwan's history glorifies Japan, even though Japan did many harmful things when it occupied Taiwan, like taking all of Taiwan's resources to Japan. This glorification continues under the DPP government, which is pro-Japan and pro-America, using education to promote this narrative. Born in Taiwan and growing up in Taiwan, they naturally identify as people from Taiwan. This regional identification, influenced by the education system, prevents them from seeing themselves as part of a larger national identity.
For the 7th year, you have bringing young people from different sectors of society to come to the mainland and see this place for themselves. Against a lot of obstacles, discouragement, even criticism and pressure on the island. Why you're so active in promoting youth exchanges across the straits?
我觉得不是什么坚持啊，我觉得是理所当然的一个事情啊。您刚才讲的信念。
I don't think it's about persistence. It's just something that should be natural. You just mentioned belief. I am Chinese. I've been taught since I was a child that I'm Chinese and to be a proud and upright Chinese person. But as for my belief, it comes from the fact that while I'm from Taiwan, I'm also Chinese. Are people from Guangdong not Chinese? Despite regional differences, being born and raised up in Guangdong, they're Cantonese, and they also identify themselves as Chinese. Even if you're born in Xinjiang, among so many ethnic groups, you see that they identify as Uyghur or Kazakh, but they're also Chinese, right?
既然我们是中国人，我们要不要为我们的国家尽我们一份心力？
So, if you're born in this region, within China's territory, we're all naturally Chinese. This is just common sense. Since we're Chinese, shouldn't we contribute to our country? Contributing to our country also contributes to the place where I grew up. You mentioned that I have brought young people here and done much for them. What I'm doing is for Taiwan. I aim to help young people find future opportunities and show them what they can achieve. As I said, seeing is believing. I was born and raised in Taiwan, where I have worked all my life. When I come to the mainland to help young people find more opportunities, do I not work for Taiwan? I'm working hard to promote the integration of both sides for the future unity and revival of our nation. Isn't that working for the future of young people? This is simply natural and not a matter of persistence. You can call it an ideal, but I believe it is something that should be done.
The mainland rolled out some regulations regarding the legal punishment of die-hard separatists, and this was in turn used as an excuse by the DPP authorities to step up their deterrence campaign against people-to-people exchanges across the straits. How do you look at these latest regulations announced by the mainland and the response from the DPP government?
只要任何一个国家分裂这个国家，
I think that in any country, secession is not allowed, right? Don't we have the 1992 consensus between Taiwan and the mainland?
一个中国原则，
What is the main content of the 1992 consensus? It's the principle of one China and the pursuit of future reunification.
现状是什么？
What is one China?
中国
A complete China includes both Taiwan and the mainland.
一个管大陆
What's the current situation?
地区嘛，可是
Under one China, two governments manage two regions.
统一
One manages the mainland and the other manages Taiwan.
我们不是
But both governments aim for reunification. That's the current situation.
几年了，我们有
But we can't stay divided forever. It's been over 70 years, and we have a common goal.
是要共同追求未来
The laws in both Taiwan and the mainland aim for future reunification. This is also the basis of the 1992 consensus and the mutual trust between the two sides.
台湾
So, when the set of judicial guidelines on die-hard Taiwan independent separatists for conducting or inciting secession was introduced, the authorities, especially Lai Qingde, reacted strongly.
做了这个大位呢，
He's known as the golden grandson of Taiwan independence and calls himself a pragmatic worker for Taiwan independence.
台湾2300万民众
Now that he has taken a high position, he causes internal trouble and monopolizes power.
我们常说
He has kidnapped the 23 million people here.
成的选票，
He claims that 90% of people on the island are pro-independence. What a joke.
有投
Let me tell you, people often say that Lai Qingde has 40% of the vote and 60% oppose him.
占了40%，
Strictly speaking, this is incorrect.
严格说
Out of those eligible to vote, 70% voted.
是28%。
Among those, he got 40% of the votes.
所有台湾
His actual support is from 28% of all eligible voters.
的票
So, only 28% of those eligible to vote voted for him.
的人呢，
The 28% who voted for him aren't all pro-independence,
分子啊，
not to mention those who didn't vote for him.
没投给你票，
He's dragging everyone along as his support.
做你的
How pathetic is
这
that?
个靠垫，
If he have guts and courage, as the golden grandson of independence, he should openly declare,
这个台独
I'm a pro-independence supporter.
就是老子我
Have the guts to face the consequences.
有本事你来
He's not like that.
你来找我，
He hides behind 23 million people and claims they're all pro-independence.
他不是
Is that reasonable?
2300人背后，
Externally, he depends on the US for his independence agenda. He treats Japan as if it's his big brother and the US as if it's his parent.
看到
It's ridiculous.
美国是你爹嘛？那开什么玩笑？